for the metal density problem. Group members: Nancy Duarte, Derek Padillas, Isis Garcia, and myself, Asia De La Fuente. As an intern at a jewelry laboratory, my job is to explore the properties of alloys of silver, rhodium, and platinum. One day, I accidentally left the bottles near a melting surface and the labels became unreadable. However, I do know that the density of silver is 10.5, rhodium is 12.4, platinum is 21.45 grams per cubic centimeter. Through this experiment, I will obtain the density of what is now 3 unknown metals in order to relabel the bottles again. I will need a laboratory balance, 150 ml graduated cylinder. And in my solutions, I will find a metal. You can choose whichever, but we will start with metal number 1. We will start by finding the mass of the empty graduated cylinder. The mass of the empty graduated cylinder is 72.6270 grams. Now that we know the mass of the empty graduated cylinder, we will find out the volume of the metal number 1. So metal number 1 is being added to the graduated cylinder in no particular or exact amount. So the volume of metal number 1 is 16 ml. Now we know what is the mass of the empty graduated cylinder and what is the volume of metal number 1. Now the mass of the metal is to be found. Now that we have the graduated cylinder, we can place it on our balance. And there is an increase in mass. This is because metal number 1 was added. The new mass of the graduated cylinder, which now contains the metal, is 241.7640 grams. We want to find what is the mass of the metal only. This means that we should subtract the weight of the empty graduated cylinder from what is now the total from the mass of the metal and the graduated cylinder. So now let's calculate to find what is the mass of only the metal. 72.6270 grams was subtracted from 241.7640 grams, which gave us a total of 169.137 grams. This is the mass of only the metal. We know that the formula for density is mass over volume. Therefore, that is 169.137 over the 16 ml, which is the volume. This gives us a density of 10.57. And I do remember that silver has a density of 10.5 grams per cubic centimeter. Therefore, it is safe to say that metal number 1 is silver. Now we will start with metal number 2. We will find the density of metal number 2 using the same procedures as metal number 1. So we can see that the empty graduated cylinder's mass is 71.46 and 47 grams. We're now finding the volume of metal number 2. The volume of metal number 2 is 15.9 ml. Now we will find the mass of the volume by placing our graduated cylinder on the balance. The total mass of the graduated cylinder and metal is now 266.6344 grams. We now know that we can get the mass of only the metal simply by subtracting the weight of the empty graduated cylinder from the 266.6344 grams. This gives us a total of 195.1697 grams. Now, to find the density of metal number 2, we know that the formula is mass over volume, and we have a mass of 1.95.1697 grams over the volume, which is 15.9 ml. That gives us a density of 12.27 grams per cubic centimeter. As far as I can remember, rhodium has a density of 12.4 grams per cubic centimeter, so it is safe to say that metal number 2 is rhodium. We're using the same procedures to find the density of metal number 3. We have found out what's the mass for the empty graduated cylinder, which is 71.4421 grams. We've already found out the volume of metal number 3, which is 16. So now we're finding out what's the mass of the metal number 3. So from a mass of 71.4421 grams, there is a big increase to 415.1907 grams. This is because metal number 3 was added. To find the mass of only metal number 3, 71.4421 grams was subtracted from 415.1907 grams, leaving us with a total of 343.7486 grams. That is the mass of metal number 3. We can find the density, that is mass over volume. So we can calculate the density, and it gives us a density of 21.48 grams per cubic centimeter. Platinum has a density of 21.45, so we can come to conclusion that metal number 3 is platinum. We found out the densities for each. For metal number 1, the density was 10.57. For number 2, the density was 12.27. And for number 3, the density was 21.48. So we can conclude metal number 1 is silver, metal number 2 is rhodium, and metal number 3 is platinum.